Manchester United's derby triumph will go down as the day Paul Pogba inspired a turnaround, but for me, this was more about Jose Mourinho. Pogba cannot get sacked but Mourinho can, so do not underestimate how enormous this result was for the United manager. It was a massive statement. It was one to win over the floating voters, one to convince any fans who were starting to wonder whether Mourinho was still the right man for the job. If United had lost that game 2-0, 3-0, 4-0 or worse, then you would have had to stand back and think, where does Mourinho go from here? It would have been his biggest humiliation. Instead, he showed that City are not invincible. They fought back and now need to secure second spot so they can go into next season believing they can challenge for the title. By halftime on Saturday, that looked a long way off. There had been owls from the City supporters, and believe me, that is a horrible and humiliating situation in any match, let alone against your main rivals. The United players will have been embarrassed by that at the Etihad Stadium. Whatever Mourinho said at the break worked wonders. I don't think he changed much tactically, but mentally, they looked a different team. Don't get me wrong, there is still a lot of work to be done. Mourinho's wars with his own players have to stop. His public criticism of Pogba over the past few months has not helped the £89 million midfielder. Now, Mourinho and Pogba need to find a way of working in harmony because they need each other. I do not subscribe to the theory that the Frenchman is a flop. On his day, he can be one of the best in the country, and he now just needs confidence. Pogba and his teammates can use this win over City to kick on under Mourinho. Chelsea can use Hazard to get Bale. Chelsea must be concerned that Eden Hazard has not signed a contract extension, despite them apparently being prepared to pay him £300,000 per week. Take Hazard out of that team and there is no way they would be able to match Manchester City, Manchester United or even Tottenham next season. Chelsea have to play this one carefully. We hear a lot about how Real Madrid are sniffing around Hazard, and that is only natural for a player who, in my opinion, has been one of the Premier League's all-time greats. Zinedine Zidane has openly admitted how highly he rates him too. Sometimes you just have to face the facts, and Chelsea may soon have to accept that if Hazard does not want to sign a new contract, then he won ''T. Should he leave for Real this summer, they would need a new A-lister, and negotiating a swap for Gareth Bale would be a great solution for Chelsea. Every summer there seems to be talk of a big money return to England for the Welshman, and Bale, now 28, would be a perfect fit for Chelsea. He is a big name and someone who already knows the Premier League. Jose Mourinho's Manchester United would no doubt be in the mix too, but if Chelsea can play a clever game with Real and Hazard this summer, then they can make it work in their favour. Burnley should beware Europe. Burnley are 7th and chasing the Europa League, though that could become a poison chalice for them. Staying in the top flight will be their #1 target next season, and Europe can take a lot out of your squad. Sean Dyche could be left with exhausted players by Christmas. His team could get knocked out of the competition and lose confidence. Burnley have to beware. Eriksen is Spurs' silent assassin. If Christian Eriksen had tattoos and a silly haircut, then maybe we would notice him more. But the midfielder is just not that type of player. Eriksen is Tottenham's silent assassin. He gets on with his job and does it quietly but brilliantly. Pep Guardiola called Tottenham the Harry Kane team before the turn of the year, and those comments have not aged well. Spurs are anything but. I am a huge admirer of Mauricio Pochettino because he is a manager who improves players. He has done that with Dele Alli and Eric Dyer, but none more so than with Eriksen.